go to Spencer Gilmire. Moves across the 50. Spencer Gilmire runs over a man at the 40. Made him eat dirt as Spencer Gilmire rumbles into Admiral territory down to the 38-yard line.
Hello, Spencer.
Will go to Spencer. He's got running room again. He's across the 30. Spencer Gilmire 20. Spencer Gilmire 15. Spencer Gilmire 13. He carries Admirals down the field. It'll be 1st and 10 Oak Ridge.
To 25 to the 30, breaks it to the outside, to the 35 to the 40, to the 45 to the 50-yard line, needs to block and gets it at the 45 to the 40, to the 35 to the 30, to the 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown, Johnny Williams, Oak Ridge.
Single man left. Helton will roll to the left side. He's in trouble. He fumbles the ball. Intercepted by Oak Ridge. Picked off at the 50. Ron Black 40, 35, 30, 25, 20. 15, 10, 5, you did it one too many times, Todd Helton. That one picked off by Black into the end zone. 64-yard run by Ron Black, and Oak Ridge takes the...
That's intercepted down the sideline. He's at the 35, he's at the 40. The Wildcats, Dallas sprint, and that might do it.
And welcome to another season of Oak Ridge High School football. Joining me is the head coach of the Wildcats, Coach Derek Rain. Coach, I believe this is your 4th year?
Yeah, this is. Yeah, starting year 4. So I guess time flies when you're having fun, right?
I guess so. This is not where we were planning on doing this interview. We had planned on doing the interview, our first show at Blankenship Field, but as you know, anybody around this area knows, it seems like our weather in Tennessee has turned to like Florida weather, where in the afternoon it clouds up and rains, and you know, we've moved inside to the Pizza Inn where we'll be doing our show on a weekly basis, hopefully every Wednesday night. But Coach, before we talk about your team, has the weather affected the way you've gotten prepared for the first ball game Friday?
Well, I mean, it's been really bad, obviously, through the weekend into this week. I mean, you know, we kind of had a good little rhythm going. Obviously, we were practicing scrimmage Fulton, practicing scrimmage Cookeville, and then last week towards the end of the week it got real bad. And then now I just feel like it's just really hot. You're in heat index issues and then the storm issues. So, you know, right now we're battling, but, you know, the good news is obviously Halls is probably dealing with the same thing too. You know, nobody really has an indoor facility in the area. So I think everybody's kind of battling with it. But, yeah, it's kind of been frustrating because we're trying to get some work in we have a lot of stuff that we have to get done here before the first game of the season.
Coach, let's talk about your 2026 team. I know last year a great run, 9-1 in the regular season, hit a road bump in the Science Hill ball game, in the playoff ball game. You had some injuries, which were a big factor in that ball game. I know as a coach you don't make excuses, but you were without your best running back in that particular ball game. Not that your backup didn't try, but Science Hill took you down. So you lost a lot of seniors off of last year's team. Before we talk about each position area, talk about this particular group that you're working with, and where are their strengths?
Yeah, I mean, I think number one overall as a football team, we are, I guess, inexperienced in a way. We only have 14 seniors this year. Some of those are new additions to football, whether it be didn't play last year or transferred in. So there's not many guys that have really played a lot of football for us on Friday night. But I like the potential of this team. Obviously, when you look at our offense, defense, special teams, we check a lot of boxes here. But for the most part, we that there are a lot of younger players involved in the program right now, and I feel like that obviously the first part of the season, you may see some of that, but I think as the season goes on, you'll kind of see us grind away at it a little bit. You'll probably see us get better as the season goes on, and like you mentioned, I mean, we want to finish better this year. It was last year was kind of the inverse. We started out really fast, and then as the season went on, it was just kind of like we got to the end there and we lost to Maryville for the region championship, and then you lose the first round of Science Hill, and in a game you really should have won. Just the way that game kind of tilted a little bit in the second half with them gaining momentum. So I think you'll see this team improve a lot. There is some inexperience there, and I'm sure we'll go through that during the show. But I'm excited to be with them because it's a new season. Everybody's excited. Football season started, so we just got to roll the ball out there and see what happens.
You mentioned some new players that are there with you this year, and obviously when you're losing your all-time leading passer in Blaine Stansberry, 3-year starter, played some even his freshman year. So that's a big loss. I mean, he's got just about every passing record, but you gained a guy in the transfer portal. I don't know if that's the best way to put it, but he's a transfer from Carter High School, senior, big kid. Talk about Brody Sparks and what he's going to bring to the table if he's your starting quarterback.
Yeah, Brody, I mean, obviously, we have another kid, Kipton Fagan, that we like a lot too. But, Brody's a big kid. He's 6'1.5", 6'2", 205. He can run. He can really throw. I think he started 26 games at Carter, started some as a freshman. So he's played. He's been in the fire. Got a lot of ability, recruitable kid, picked up an offer from UT Martin after the spring scrimmage. So, he's got a lot of potential. And I guess the positive thing about it is he can make plays with his legs. So one thing I think you'll see with him, David, when the pocket breaks down a little bit, I felt like at times Blaine was really pushing to throw the ball every time he could. I think you'll just see Brody run for some first downs there and kind of keep the chains moving. And obviously that's big for us because, we got to get first downs and we got to get, obviously, touchdowns over field goals and whatnot. But I think you'll see a lot of production from him. And I think, obviously the skill players we have is going to help out. He's got to have some good guys to throw the ball to, especially in the throw game. And then, like I said, we're building the offensive line a little bit. So I think those guys are good enough, well coached enough that they'll know what to do in the protection pieces of it for us to be, functionable. And obviously, in the two scrimmages we've had here in the fall, it's kind of been tough, because we've not gotten a whole lot of reps by design. But I think Brody obviously is super talented, and no doubt that I think you're going to see him make a lot of plays this year.
Tell me about Kipton Fagan, and I also saw a couple of freshmen, Pettis and Nip, I believe. Those guys, I don't know if they'll ever see varsity action this year, but tell me about the other guys.
Yeah, I mean, you got Kipton Fagan there who's obviously a quarterback, and I think he can do several things on the field for you. He can do some stuff. He knows the offense really well. There's some packaging we can do, I think, to really utilize both guys' skill sets. Obviously Brody being a senior, Kip being a junior. So I think there's some cool stuff we're kind of working with on that just to, let them play potentially on the field at the same time, which, schools have done that. There's been some colleges kind of do some two quarterback stuff. So it does fit, both their skill sets kind of fit what we're thinking as far as that design of that. Don't want to give too much detail about it because obviously we want it to be a surprise to our opponents. Then the freshman group, you got Bentley Pettis and Easton Nip. They're just obviously Easton, is was the Jefferson quarterback and had a big year, and Bentley was the Robertsville quarterback. Bentley's playing some safety for us too. So, the freshman year, it's kind of get in, learn high school football. But we're really excited about the streamline of that position. I mean, one of my objectives when I took the job, we talked about this at the first day, was develop the quarterback position. We felt like we wanted to do that from a program standpoint, and with Blaine being the all-time leading passer, excited for him to sign with Davidson. He's in camp right now with them. Brody obviously is a college prospect with a couple offers right now. Kip, Nip, Pettis. I mean, so we feel really good about what we're doing with that position.
Let's talk about your running back position. You returned DeMillion Porter, who was having a phenomenal year. And then about the 7th game, I believe it was, maybe close to that, somewhere around that time, he got injured and wasn't able to play. Did not play in the final ball games of the year, but he returns. You got some other guys as well.
Yeah, running back. I mean, Mill. We expect him. He's kind of been doing it since his sophomore year. Really knows the system well. Really kind of knows what to do. I think for him, it's just a matter of, one thing I've challenged him to do a little bit is to break more tackles, probably at the linebacker level. I feel like against Fulton, he did that. Against Cookeville, it was kind of a weird scrimmage day. We used to have many designed runs. But when we did get in a rhythm there, we found a couple of things we liked. But he can catch the ball in the backfield, so that's obviously big when your running back can be a receiver. So he knows all the screens and whatnot. He's willing to pass protect, block and do some stuff like that. So, expect him to have a big year. In the rotation, Zakai Booth, Jamin Crowley's one that ran track and's got tremendous talent. Unfortunately, he's a little banged up right now, but Jamin Crowley's another one that has a lot of potential. Zakai Booth, A.J. Jones, Chaz Jackson. So we feel like we got pieces there at that position. Mills kind of mastered the position as far as what we do in our system. The other guys are just kind of learning, but we feel good about, like I said, last year when he got hurt, Wayne Gibson come in, did a great job, but then Wayne kind of had to play defense the whole time too. That we feel this year we just have a little bit more depth, maybe across the board at some positions, and we feel like running back's one of them. If we need some of those guys to carry the ball, they can do it. It's just, when you have a kid like Mill, obviously, he don't get the bulk of the carries just because of the explosiveness he has, knowing the offense, big play potential, and just as productive as he's been the past couple of years.
Coach, me, I'm a kind of a statistical guy, kind of a trivial guy, not trivial, trivia guy. But I was thinking about something as I turned to the receivers here. You've got a guy that scored a touchdown at Blankenship Field last year against us, now playing for you. And it was a long touchdown, too. You got to be happy with him and the other guys that are working at your receiver position.
Yeah, I mean, receiver we feel really good about. Branson Newberry's transferred in from Science Hill, super explosive kid, great track athlete. He unfortunately has been injured most of the summer, and he's back and cleared and ready to go. So he's obviously a big piece of what we're doing. Malik Howard's tight ends. Can't say enough about Malik, 4-star committed to Tennessee. Zayden Williams, Lemire Porter's back with us, played at Robertsville, went to Powell his freshman year. He's back with Oak Ridge as a sophomore year. Nemo Adams, there's a bunch of guys that we feel good about as far as Brody Sparks kind of throwing the ball to, or Kipton, so we feel really, really good about the receiver position. You have Marquise Moody, who's working some slot, transferred in from Bearden. I think he grew up in Oak Ridge. Anthony Ferreira, Ezra Mahoney, just quite a few guys that have some ability there. And the good news is there's some depth there. So, but when you look at, the main group, there's size, there's ball skills, there's the ability to make plays after the catch as far as break tackles, and we're just excited about the group.
Let's talk about the offensive line. I think around town, that's the story that I've heard people say, well, what are they going to do for blocking? Because you lost your entire line from a year ago, offensive line. I think all of your starters either graduated or left the program. So you're having to rebuild. I know Coach Days does a phenomenal job with those guys. Talk about the offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, from left to right, we're kind of rebuilding the position. At tackles, we kind of have Brennan Oliver. He moved in from Illinois. He's obviously a good athlete, big kid. Hudson Edwards obviously is another big kid that played last year for us. King Sandoval can play some offensive line. Dom Vasquez, Aiden Crunk's one who's young but got tremendous size. Those guys are kind of working in there. And then at guards, you have Javier Heck, Brandon Roy, who's really turned it on his senior year, committed to football. Caleb Cooper, center for us. Gage Pellegrin's another one working on the offensive line. Trey Levert's working some at guard. Mentioned Dom Vasquez, which he'll be a kind of a warrior playing some on the defensive line. So there's some pieces there, David, but like you said, very inexperienced. I think you'll see that group get a lot better as the season goes on. And, there are some combinations we can play as far as, just playing some guys up there that want to go in there and fight and compete and, play tough and be hard-nosed. And there's not many seniors up there either, so I think the future is very bright for that position. But, it's been a work in progress. Felt like Fulton, we had some really good moments there against Cookeville. It was kind of funny with them. They were unbelievably chaotic as far as their slants and blitzes. And we didn't do a great job of picking that up, but I think as the scrimmage wore on, we got better, and that's what you want to see. It didn't start out great, but as the scrimmage went on, we were moving the ball, scored a touchdown, kind of starting to drive the ball a little bit, and that group's going to just continue to grow and develop as the season goes on.
When something happens to your car, you might say,
"Ugh, come on, seriously?
This is so extra."
But what you could say is,
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
your local State Farm agents are available to help you online, over the phone, or in person. State Farm agents are here to help answer your questions and help you file your claim.
This is so extra.
Get with someone who can actually help. Contact me, Agent Laura Lynn Green, today.
Hello, my name is Blake Woody. I'm 5'11", 190 pounds. I'm a senior, and I went to Holy Family Catholic Academy Middle School.
I'm Dylan Woody. I'm 6'3". I weigh 190 pounds. I'm a junior, and I went to Ali Imanu Middle School.
Hello, my name is Armani Brown. I am 5'1". I weigh 104 pounds, and I'm a sophomore, and I went to Jefferson Middle School.
Hello, my name is Branson Newberry. My height is 5'10". My weight is 172. I'm a senior, and I went to Libertyville Middle School.
Hello, my name is Brody Sparks. I'm 6'2", 205 pounds. I'm a senior, and I went to Maryville Junior High School.
My name is Everett Hartman. I'm 6'1", and I'm 165. I'm a sophomore, and I went to Robertsville Middle School.
All right, my name is Brendan Oliver. I'm 6'4", 235. I'm a junior, and I went to White House Middle School in Texas.
Hello, my name is Trey Lever. I am 6'1", 285. I am a sophomore. I went to Cofield Middle School.
Hello, my name is King. My last name is Sandoval. I'm 6'2", 250. I'm an upcoming junior, and I went to Robertsville Middle School.
We're with the head coach of the Wildcats, Coach Derek Rang. Coach, just talk about your philosophy. I know from year to year, depending on your personality and your personnel, obviously you changed a few things. Talk about your philosophy this year. Is it any different from the previous 3 years?
Well, not really. It's kind of funny. With the guys that have transferred in the program, it's kind of like, we're just going to kind of rerun last year as far as what we did, and the thing would be just to finish better. If you look at, and I get, we're all disappointed, whatever, but we had a lot of positive momentum going, and not that defensively last year we were really, really good for 9 of the 11 games, giving up, 9 points a game, which was probably a top 20 defense in the state, regardless of classification. Offensively, I think we've scored 30 or more points since I've been the head coach, and I don't know if it's 75, 80% of the games, whatever. So you feel like you're doing some good stuff. I think this year was kind of like run it back a little bit because you had Branson transfer in, you had Brody transfer in. Obviously, Kip's a weapon. We feel good about the receiver position. You got Malik Howard, who All-American tight end, who can do some phenomenal stuff in the throw game and the block game as well. And then defensively, it just kind of fit with what we wanted to do as far as the scheme and the style of defense we want to play here at Oak Ridge High School. And, so I think this year it's kind of let's kind of run it back a little bit, and we kind of have good foundation of what we want to do. And maybe after this year there'll be some changes, but we just felt like everything just kind of fit, going into the off season with guys that have transferred in or just the personnel we have, David.
Let's talk about the defense now. You and I were talking before we started taping here. Is you were kind of thinking that the potential of this team on defense could be really good. I mean, you were telling me that you think we could be really good.
Well, because I say that, we have tremendous length in the secondary. You have Zayden Williams, who's a 4-star player, 35 offers. You got Lemire Porter at free safety, who's gotten about 4 or 5 offers already as a sophomore. He got tremendous length. Dylan Woody, to me, is a college prospect at safety. 6'3.5", can fly. You got Josiah McClure, Marquise Moody, kind of working at the other corner there. Liam Gerber, who fits kind of an outside linebacker. Had a great spring. Then Jeremiah Stevens moved in from Alabama, who's picked up a couple SEC offers as a 29 edge. He'll kind of play our wildcat hybrid position. Caden Stewart, Blake Woody are back at linebacker to kind of, just 2 junkyard dogs. I mean, it was fun to see Caden's uncle Zach. I coached him at West, and he was a dog, and about Caden's father and grandfather as far as their Oak Ridge football playing ability. And then on the defensive front, we feel like we have a good rotation of 6 guys. So when you look at it, I mean, defensively, the pieces are there for us to be really, really good. And I'm sure we'll go through more specific position by specific breakdown. But we have elite length in the cover building and secondary. We have some physical linebackers, and we have a 6-man D-line rotation. So, I mean, the expectation would be to be pretty good on that side of the ball.
Yeah, your defensive secondary last year was much smaller than this particular team. They had a lot of quickness and speed, but you're exactly right. When you were naming off the names, I was thinking, he's tall. So that is going to be an advantage, I think.
Well, that's one thing that's funny about it. For my time being here, we've had a lot of shorter, quicker players. And now we're kind of getting into some length with, Zayden Williams and Lemire Porter and Dylan Woody. And, those guys just are long, fluid athletes who can really run and flip their hips. And, we're still kind of figuring out who the other corner is going to be there opposite of Zayden. But there's definitely some strong candidates there to fill that. But, yeah, there's good length in the back end. And, the good news is I feel like for the most part, I mean, in the scrimmages, we've done a great job of, just besides a couple little blips here and there, we've done a pretty good job of playing physical defense, assignment football. Fulton in the 1s and 2s session, I think it was 21-7 Oak Ridge. And then in Cookeville, we had a couple busts that are easily corrected, that we kind of just lost a guy and gave up a cheap touchdown. But we feel like in a couple scrimmages, teams have not really – I guess they've had a hard time consistently moving the ball against our defense. So, like you said, there's a lot of – from a high school football standpoint, a lot of position-specific traits that are solid for those guys. And, we like I said, the high expectation would be, we come out on every Friday, and when you play Oak Ridge, you're going to be in for a war, especially the opponent's offense. Like, oh, man, we got to prepare for these guys. They're in a lot of different looks, and they're flying around. They're covering people. They're blitzing the quarterback. And we feel that's what we want to be. So I think there's a lot of potential there for us to be successful.
Who is that other person, other people that are vying for that cornerback position?
Well, cornerback, you kind of have – we had Trace Jackson, who was playing really well, and he ended up getting hurt against Cookeville. He'll be out for a while. But Josiah McClure is another one, Marquise Moody. You have Ezra Mahoney. There's kind of a different candidates there that are kind of, battling to get on the field there. And they all have, obviously, good potential. And that's – like I said, that's a big piece, because you got to be good in the secondary. And everything else, I mean, like I said, as far as safety go, Ben Hartman's going to potentially play some safety for us. Now, he's a little bit shorter and everything, but he's a good tackler. I mean, he's made some great tackles in the scrimmages and even in practice on some of our key offensive skill players, which, the good thing about us, I mean, if we're going good on good, the defense is going against some pretty elite skill players. So, hopefully we can, get better practicing against good players. But, that's what the plan for corner, and just kind of battle that out. And we feel good about developing some linebacker depth, with Dom Campbell and Zakai Booth. Those are a couple guys, maybe Spencer Hatmaker. So what we're trying to do, David, is we're trying to find about, 6 defensive linemen who can play, maybe 5 or 6 linebackers who can play, find a couple, the spur position for us, Liam Gerber, A.J. Jones. We have a couple there. And then as far as the 4 guys in the back end, we feel like we have 6 or 7 guys. So, I think that's positive as far as building depth and getting guys to know what to do. And, last year the plan was to kind of sub down a little bit more on defense and keep guys fresh for offense. But the good news this year, I think we'll be able to kind of keep guys fresh on defense, and then, have Malik will just play offense, DeMillion will just play offense, Newberry will just play offense, Nemo Adams. We kind of have a group that's kind of just working on offense sometimes with Coach McKeithen during practice. So it's kind of been a good little setup, what we think.
Tell me about those three guys on the front line, maybe more than three.
Yeah, the defensive line, King Sandoval, all-region player, Dom Vasquez, all-region player. We got Hayes Quinley, we like. He transferred from Farragut. 6'3", 225 kid that's big and physical. Joey Marin Ship, 6'4", 230. Zy Carroll. Maybe you see Jeremiah Strickland, who's a big boy up there. There's not many defensive linemen because we've kind of segmented our linemen, but we feel pretty good about potentially the 6 guys that we can put in there. And, like I say, King Sandoval, we expect him to have a big-time year. Same with Dom Vasquez. Obviously, Hayes is only a sophomore, but, he's got the traits to be really good. And, like I said, then from then on it's just building the guys who can go in and give you, 8 to 10 reps, max effort. Like when the offensive line's getting a little tired, there's a fresh kid from Oak Ridge coming in. So, that's kind of how we feel, the rotation should be. And it's kind of worked out pretty well. And the bad part is, the fans may not get to see that in a scrimmage because you only go for so long. But I think on games they'll get a chance to see that's going to pay off for us, especially in the third, fourth quarter of some of these early games in the season.
Fox Insurance Group is a local agency. We've got a great staff. We're knowledgeable. The most rewarding thing about working in insurance is taking care of customers. When they come in, a lot of times they don't know what coverages they need. They're relying on us to give them the right coverage that's going to fit their needs, but also at a competitive price. Anybody can go to any agent or they can call any 1-800 number. But getting that right agent that's going to take care of them and be there in time of need, and that's what we're here to do.
Hello, my first name is Dominic Campbell. I am 6 foot, 180 pounds. I'm a sophomore, and I went to Robertsville Middle School.
My name is Judah Holman. My last name Judah Holman, and my height 6 feet. My weight 170, and I'm class of 2029. I went to Jefferson Middle School.
My name is Chaz Jackson. I'm 5'8", 165, class of 2028, junior. Hello, my name is Ezra Mahoney. I'm 5'7", 168, junior, and Robertson Middle School.
My name is Jeremiah Cabrera. I'm 5'10", 250, sophomore, and I went to Jefferson Middle School.
Hello, my name is Hayes Quinley. I am 6'2", 230. I'm a sophomore, and I went to Farragut Middle School.
My name is Dustin Simpson. I am 6'2". I weigh about 260. I'm class of 2028, going into my junior year. I went to Robertsville Middle School.
Hello, my name is Hudson Edwards. I'm 6'2", 260, class of 2028, and I went to Jefferson Middle School.
My name is Ian Underwood. I am 5'8". I weigh 140 pounds. I'm a junior, and I went to Robertsville Middle School.
My name is Jackson Rice. I'm 5'11". I weigh 170. I'm class of 2028, and I went to Robertsville Middle School.
Hey, my name is Malik Howard. I'm 6'4", 230 pounds, and I'm a senior here at Oak Ridge. I went to Jefferson Middle School.
Hello, my name is Liam Gerber. I'm 6'2", 185. I'm going into my junior year. I went to Robertsville Middle School.
Hello, my name is DeMillion Porter. I'm 5'10", 205. I'm going to my senior year. I went to Robertsville Middle School.
Hi, my name's Oliver Poggle. I'm 6'1", 200 pounds. I'm a sophomore, and I went to Robertsville Middle School.
Hello, my name is Jamin Crowley. I'm 5'10", 170. I'm a senior, and I went to Jefferson Middle School.
My name is Jackson Friend. I'm 5'8", I weigh 135, and I'm a junior, and I went to Jefferson Middle School.
My name is Caden Parks. My height is 6'1". I weigh 255 pounds. Class of 2029, and
my name is Sahir Ramos. My height is 6'1", weight 194. Sophomore, and I went to St. Mary's Middle School.
Hello, my name is Lemire Porter.
I'm 6'2". I weigh 180 pounds. Class of 2029, sophomore. I went to Robertsville Middle School.
Kyler Sachs, 5'8", 145, senior. Middle school was Robertsville.
Now let's turn our attention to the special teams. You lose one of the better kickers we've ever had in Eli Pearson. And, he was a great punter, great place kicker, great kickoff guy. Talk about your special teams, your kickers, and your return guys.
Well, I mean, as far as our kickers go, you have obviously Eli Pearson signed with ETSU. Excited for him. He's a college kicker. Kyler Sachs and Sahir Ramos will be your kickers. Kyler is going to be a senior for us, and he did a good job in the JV and actually against Halls last year. Eli was hurt, so Kyler stepped up well for that. Sahir's new to us, played soccer. Both guys. They got strong legs. They can do all the kickoff stuff we want to do, whether it be like a short sky kick or a deep kick or an onside kick or do some of the funky stuff we do. Returners, you'll see Branson Newberry back there, Zayden Williams, Demillion Porter. Jamin Crowley, when healthy, will be a good return guy. You'll see kind of Lemire Porter, Malik Howard kind of be in some of our up back positions. May get a chance to return the ball. From what we've seen from Halls, they don't have a super kicker. A lot of the teams we face just have kickers who are going to punch it in the end zone, but early on may not see that. Kipton will be the punter. He's got a tremendous punting ability whenever he gets into it. So that's going to be unique for us, too. There's some stuff we can do offensively when he's on the field. Maybe people think we're in offense, but maybe we're going to be in punt teams. So that would minimize a rush, and maybe cause teams to maybe use a timeout or just, play a vanilla defensive front. So Kip will be, he'll be the punter. Hayes will be the Hayes or Quinley, really good long snapper. Gage Pellegrin's really good short snapper. Kipton and Newberry, I've kind of got trained to hold. So we feel pretty good about the pieces there. It's just a lot of your special team stuff you got to do in games. It's just hard to, we've not really done a whole lot of live special teams in practice. We want to start this week a little bit. Now, we were going to do that today, and the storms got us. But we're going to have some thud periods there to where guys are kind of getting hit. But, it's kind of hard to practice some of that in practice. But I think Friday will be fun to see those guys go out there and kick the ball and our cover units run and cover, and I think you'll see some positive play there.
When something happens to your car, you might say,
"Ugh, come on, seriously? This is so extra."
But what you could say is,
like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Your local State Farm agents are available to help you online, over the phone, or in person. State Farm agents are here to help answer your questions and help you file your claim.
This is so extra.
Get with someone who can actually help. Contact me, Agent Laura Lynn Green, today.
My name is Marquise Moody. Height 5'9", 163. I'm a senior, and I went to Bearden Middle School.
My name is Amari Bishop. I'm 6 foot. I weigh like 164. I am a sophomore, and I went to Jefferson Middle School.
Hello, my name is Thomas White. I'm 5'9", 145 pounds. I'm a sophomore, and I went to Robertsville Middle School.
Hello, my name is Anthony Jones. Height 6 foot, weight 190. Class senior. Middle school, Robertsville Middle School.
Hello, my name is Dominic Vasquez. I'm 6 feet tall and I weigh 250 pounds, and I'm a senior. I went to Jefferson Middle School.
My name is Anthony Nevis. I'm 5'9", 156. I'm a junior this year, and I went to Robertsville Middle School.
Hello, my name is James Lutz. I am 6 foot. I weigh 190 pounds. I am a sophomore, and I went to St. Mary's Middle School.
Hello, my name is Jimari. Last name Gregory. Height 6 foot. Weight 150. Class, I'm a junior, and I go to high school.
My name is Jose Marinship. I'm about 6'4", 6'3". They tell me different things, but I weigh about 237. I'm a junior, and I went to Jefferson Middle School.
Hello, my name is Nehemiah Adams. I'm 6'1", 180. I'm a junior. Middle school. And I went to Cedar Bluff Middle School.
Hello, my name is Kipton Fagan. I'm 6'1", 170. I'll be a junior this year, and my middle school is Robertsville.
Hello, my name is Ben Hartman. I am 5'8", weigh 130. I'm a sophomore, and I went to Robertsville Middle School.
My name is Anthony Ferreira. I'm like 5'9.5", 170. I'm a junior, and I went to Robertsville Middle School.
My name is Jeremiah Strickland. I'm 6'4", 287. In class of 2027, I went to Robertsville Middle School.
Hello, my name is Braylon Wooten, 5'4", 145. I'm a sophomore, and I went to Jefferson Middle School.
My name is Zayden Williams. I'm 6'2", 185, class of 28, junior, and I went to Jefferson Middle School.
Hello, my name is Aiden Crunk. I am 6'5", and I weigh 275. I am a sophomore, and I am from Robertsville Middle School.
I am Spencer Hatmaker. I'm 6 foot, 180 pounds. I'm a class of sophomore, 2029. My middle school was Robertsville Middle School.
Hello, my name is Landon Thurlow. I am 6 foot. I weigh 165 pounds. I'm a sophomore, and I went to Jefferson Middle School.
Hello, my name is Gage Pellegrin. I am 5'10", 230. I'm a junior. I went to Jefferson Middle School.
My name is Zy Carroll. I'm 5'8". I weigh 225. I'm a junior, and I went to Jefferson.
Hello, my name is Javier Heck. I'm 5'7". I weigh 245. I'm class of 28. I'm a junior, and I went to Robertsville Middle School.
Hello, my name is Caleb Cooper. I'm 5'10". I weigh 220. I'm class of 2029. Went to Robertsville Middle School.
Hello, my name is Brandon Roy. I'm 6'2", 290. I'm a senior, and I went to Jefferson Middle School.
Before we talk about Halls, I want to continue to talk about the schedule and the strength of the teams in the region. Obviously you want to be a region champion. You've got Maryville sitting there; they're the defending champions. They've won about I don't remember how many straight they've won in their particular region. But talk about this region. Obviously the schedule is the same as last year, just flipped, home to away. Talk about the region as you see it now.
Well, I mean, I think it's the exact same schedule, just home and away's flipped. So for our fans, there's no schedule changes. The region stuff should recycle next year. So, there may be, it's always been my goal. We've talked about this a lot, and everybody keeps asking me, why don't y'all play Anderson County, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, dates got to match up. We get 6 region games, and then, of course, we got DB back on the schedule, which is I think it's big to the Oak Ridge community to play Dobbins Bennett every year. I think it's big to play Clinton every year, so you get 2 dates. Well, that's not a lot of flexibility for other non-region opponents. But you mentioned the region part of it. I think it's kind of interesting. I think, it's last year was unique because you had a couple schools that had coaching changes that led to major roster movements in Bearden and Cleveland. So, those games preseason before spring break, you're thinking, wow, maybe we're the little bit of the underdog in this game. And then all of a sudden it turned into mercy rule wins for the Wildcats. So I don't really know. I think, we talked about this before the show, Dave. I think Maryville obviously will be a strong opponent. That they generally do a pretty good job of reloading with guys that are in their system. It's generally with the Chattanooga schools, last year, Bradley had a bunch of Cleveland transfers. I think you'll see Cleveland be better because I think Coach Brown's a good coach, and they played a lot of young kids last year. Bradley's kind of a wild card. I know they lost a lot of seniors and whatnot. And then it kind of goes back to the West Knoxville schools. You got Bearden, Hardin Valley, Farragut. From what we hear, maybe Farragut's lost some kids. Maybe Bearden's still kind of rebuilding. Maybe Hardin Valley, feels good about what they're doing. But, when it comes down to it, those games are later on in the season. And, the biggest thing we're focused on, is starting the season off on a good note. It's kind of fun. You go 2 halls and play a 5A semifinalist to start the season. And then your home openers against Clinton at Blankenship. I mean, David, that's a pretty good way to start the season. And then, of course, you kind of go from there and got the trip to Dobbins Bennett this year, go play in J. Fred. And, that experience with their 500 band members on the visiting sideline there. So, it's going to be fun. But, I think the biggest thing we've talked about, our goal is to win region championships. And we've discussed this now about the winning percentage. And unfortunately, last year, I guess since I've been the head coach at Oak Ridge, we've lost a home playoff game in the season, which stinks. But generally, you win more playoff games at home than you do on the road. And, getting the region championship allows you to host those playoff games, and it kind of worked out my second year. You know, we had the path of we hosted playoff games, we won a couple close ones, and if we're playing on the road, we may not have done that. So, you know, it's to host playoff games, make the run. You know, we know we're in 6A. The playoff format's not changed, so there's going to be all these crossover state games in the second round, and you know, you want to put yourself in a position to where you can play. You can have somebody from Middle Tennessee come into Blankenship, and then if you get that one, then you know you want to put your position somebody else from Middle Tennessee coming, because generally the longer the bus trip, you know, the more likely that team's not going to be as focused. So, I mean, that's the goal as always. You know, compete, make deep playoff runs, get to the state championship game, win one. You know, we talked about that before the show. You know, as far as you know, just trying to get. You know, it's been a while since Oak Ridge has had a team state champion, so. You know, that's kind of our goal, and obviously a couple of years ago we were really, really close to doing that. Then last year we kind of dropped the ball a little bit, and my first year kind of dropped the ball a little bit. So I guess we're due this year.
Coaching staff the same?
Yeah, we're going to re-run it back. You know, it's the same staff. I mean, nothing's really changed as far as the staff or anybody's responsibility. You know, it was kind of a, you know, whenever we kind of got back in there in January and started meeting, it's like, okay, well, we kind of have the pieces that fit what we want to do. You know, we felt like last year, I mean, we had a lot of success for most of the season, and then, you know, if we can just find a way to finish better. But, you know, the staff's back. Everybody's kind of back in their same initial responsibility that we've had last year. So feel good about it. And like I said, it's just kind of a run it back and let's see if we can have some fun, compete, win some games.
When something happens to your car, you might say,
ugh, come on, seriously? This is so extra.
But what you could say is,
like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Your local State Farm agents are available to help you online, over the phone, or in person. State Farm agents are here to help answer your questions and help you file your claim.
This is so extra.
Get with someone who can actually help. Contact me, Agent Laura Lynn Green, today.
Fox Insurance Group is a local agency. We've got a great staff. We're knowledgeable. The most rewarding thing about working in insurance is taking care of customers. When they come in, a lot of times they don't know what coverages they need. They're relying on us to give them the right coverage that's going to fit their needs, but also at a competitive price. Anybody can go to any agent or they can call any 1-800 number. But getting that right agent that's going to take care of them and be there in time of need, and that's what we're here to do.
Hello, Coach Mitchell. I coach the wide receivers. This is my 7th year at Oak Ridge.
Hello, I'm Coach Mitchell. I coach the safeties. This is my 2nd year coaching.
Hello, I'm Coach Kasner. I coach the corners. This is my 4th year at Oak Ridge.
What's up? I'm Coach Bam. I coach running backs and safeties. I'm going into my 4th season at Oak Ridge.
I'm Coach Day. I coach the offensive line. This is my 5th year at Oak Ridge High School.
Hello, my name is Coach Branson. I am the tight ends coach and special teams coach, and this is my 5th year at Oak Ridge High School.
Hello, I am Coach Kevin McKeithen. I coach the quarterbacks, and I'm the offensive coordinator. I have been at Oak Ridge now 4 years overall. This is my 3rd straight year on Coach Rang's staff at Oak Ridge.
Hello, I am Coach Pace. I coach the offensive line, and this is going into my 3rd year at Oak Ridge High School. Excited to be here.
Hello, I'm Coach Chitwood. I coach the defensive line, and this is my 5th year as a coach at Oak Ridge High School.
Hello, my name is Brian Leffler. I'm the athletic trainer here for Oak Ridge High School. This will be my 10th year at Oak Ridge.
Hello, I'm Coach Kelly. I coach the kickers. This is my 5th year at Oak Ridge.
Hello, I'm Coach Hawkins. I coach the inside linebackers. This is my 4th year at Oak Ridge.
Hello, I'm Coach Ring. I'm the head coach of the Oak Ridge Football Wildcats, and I'm starting my 4th year as head coach.
One thing I've heard, I've got just a couple more things for you, and then I'll let you go. We're doing this at Pizza Inn. This is where we hope to do the show each and every Wednesday night. It was raining and storming. We were going to do it at Blankenship, but a little safer in here, Coach. But I've heard all over town that you've got a good freshman group, a lot of good players in this freshman. If you can keep them together, they might be a good team coming up.
It's a solid group. There's some linemen in there. There's some quarterbacks. There's some skill players. They seem like they understand football. You know, they're pretty committed. So I think it's a building group. It really is. I think it's very, very solid. And that's kind of what me and Coach Branson have talked about. Is just the solidness of just the type of kids that are in that group and kind of what they're about and just the work ethic. And it's like you said, we want to keep that group together and just kind of build it into our program because, it's just so hard to obviously play as a freshman. But I think you'll see a lot of those guys on the field in their futures sooner rather than later. So, it's important to keep classes like that together.
You said there's 14 seniors on this team. What's the overall number of team members?
Well, we've kind of set around, I guess, 9 through 12 the past 2 or 3 years. We've been around the 90 mark, maybe the 85 to 90 mark. Obviously some freshmen, that number kind of gets skewed a little bit because sometimes you get the freshmen come out and then decide it's not for them, whatever. But generally when the season starts, we're kind of sitting around maybe the mid-80s, whatever. You get generally since I've been here, we've had 25 to 30 freshmen. And then we've set around the 58 to 60 varsity players. So that's kind of where we're at. The positive thing about this year is you only have 14 seniors. So we feel like going into 2027, there's going to be a lot of kids back in the program.
Let's talk about Halls. That's the opponent Friday night at Halls High School. I thought, last year you came out in that first ball game and jumped on them. And you just put them away early. And that was a good team. They struggled out of the gate. Lost some ball games, but then towards the end of the year, they got it rolling. And as you mentioned, a semifinal team, but you wouldn't have ever believed that after that first game.
Well, they had the same path we had a couple of years ago. They kind of started the season out, and they were actually 0-3. And I saw Coach Hughes at a Tennessee football game, and I said, "Y'all are still pretty good." And you're in 5A, it's wide open. And sure enough, they ended up. I think they finished 5-4. I think they finished 5-4, and then they were the 3 seed in their region. Well, they go to Tennessee High and win. There's a bunch of upsets in the playoffs. They get Lawrence County at home. They win that one. They go back to Central in a game they probably should have won. They beat Central. Now you're in the semis. So very good football team. Jarrell Chandler's a Clemson commit. He'll be all over the field for him. Got a quarterback transfer from Volunteer who played. So it's, both quarterbacks in this game will be transfer quarterbacks. They see, they got – obviously, their systems identified as far as what they want to do. They returned 8 starters on defense off a semifinal group. Returned several linemen, so they feel good about their offensive and defensive lines. Good solid football team. It's not going to be easy. You mentioned that last year we kind of jumped on them a little bit and kind of took the gas out of them, and just kind of, I guess, use the word coasted. It was like 28-7 at one point. And it was almost like they really knew they couldn't really come back. This year we gotta make sure they don't jump on us. We're going down to Halls. We're going to have a lot of kids playing their first game in an Oak Ridge uniform. Now we're talented. Maybe some of these kids have played at other schools on Friday, but we just gotta make sure we kind of dot the I's and cross the T's, and just make sure that we're pretty controlled to start the game as far as what we're calling and what we're doing and what the expectation is. No, nothing catastrophic. And in the first half, they had all the catastrophic mistakes because they threw 2 pick sixes. They had to use a couple timeouts with, I think it was personnel issues, whatever. And down 20-0 at halftime, it's kind of hard to overcome that. So we got to be in a position to where we're on point this year. We're kind of taking control of the game and expect it to be a fun one.
Not to bring up a painful memory, that kind of reminds me of just the opposite of the Jefferson County game the year before.
Yeah, well, that's what we were talking about is this will be my 4th opener. And, my first home opener, we played Jeff County, but it was just so chaotic. That game was just so chaotic because we're, stylistically so different than what Oak Ridge football is used to. We're throwing the ball 23 times in a half, and there's been times they're not throwing the ball 23 times in 3 games. But like you mentioned the Jeff County game, we get down 21-0, and then we kind of claw back in it. Then it kind of turns into a typical chaotic first game. And that's what's fun about first games, David. There's really no way to simulate them. So what you do is you go in there and just play ball. And, we fought back in that game. We really had a chance to win it there at the end. We kind of had the ball down there inside their 8, fumbled. Jeff County won the game. And then, we ended up being a semifinal team that year. So, you can't really judge a lot off the first game. But what you can judge is how hard the kids play. Are they really competing? As far as the mistakes go, we try to simplify some stuff. So hopefully our guys can execute what they're asked to do, and hopefully you see our guys make a lot of plays.
You mentioned that Hall's kind of running the same things they always do. I would think it would be very difficult to prepare for that first game because all you have is film from scrimmages where they haven't shown, like you have not shown what they want to do or do all the time. So I would think that would be the most nerve-wracking ball game to prepare for.
Yeah, and last year we had that twice because Clinton got stormed out against Heritage. So the funny thing was we had like 2 games where there was no preparation. So like we just had very short Sunday meetings. It was like, well, you kind of do what you do. Like you practice an everyday plan off, and we're unique on defense. Like defensively, we play 3 different fronts. We have multiple coverages. We're attacking. You know, we blitz a lot. Like we're not going to just sit there and play a lot of base. They're a little bit different. You know, they're kind of more. Now they do have a new defensive coordinator, but it's kind of. It seems like they're still doing the stuff they've done. You know, I think you wonder what the discussions are or whatever. But you kind of have an everyday menu of the stuff that you do. And you say, okay, these are the plays the kids know. These are the plays they can execute. And you go call those plays in that first game of the season. And you hope you've worked enough situational football. We've worked 2-point plays. We've worked red zone offense, red zone defense. You know, we have our goal, whatever. So you just hope that your guys can out execute them in the first game of the season. And then as the season goes on, you kind of start figuring out and you start building your team to what the identity is. And but, you know, like I said, we feel good about the plan we have because, you know, we're kind of a volume offense. We run a bunch of different plays and a bunch of different formations. And that's what Brody's mentions, you know, coming to Oak Ridge, how much more in-depth the football is compared to his previous school. So, you know, there's a lot for the kids to learn. So we feel like we have a lot of answers when the defense gives us something or have a lot of answers when the offense gives us something or vice versa. Now, in special teams, we're really simple because my philosophy is you don't want to have a lot of catastrophic – that's how games can swing. You've seen that, David. You've seen, you know, like the Science Hill game, if they don't block that field goal, return it for a touchdown, we probably win that game going away. So we just got to make sure that we're good there, but we're pretty simple there.
At the end of the night, what has Oak Ridge done to win the ball game?
Well, I mean, you know, number one, I mean, football. When it comes down to it, you know, football. When you have the better players, I mean, generally the team that has the better players is going to win. That's kind of a story old as time. We like our group. What allows us to win? I think defensively. I think there's enough stuff we can do defensively, personnel-wise, to where we can kind of keep the new quarterback off balance. Last year, there was a 3-year starter at quarterback, Amari Lethgo. Now, this kid's been there since June. So, you know, Brody's been with us since January, but this kid just got there. Jarrell Chandler on offense, we kind of have to him up. He's the Clemson commit as a defensive back, but they've used him in a variety of roles in the scrimmages. Jarrell will be a Power 4 kid, so, you know, we kind of have to monitor him defensively. I think tackling, I think we do a good job in practice of like our guys like to hit in practice, so I don't think tackling is going to be that big of an issue for us, David. I mean, I want to knock on the table there because I don't want to jinx us. I think we'll tackle well, you know, and then it comes down to minimizing big plays on defense and then getting them off the field. I think special teams, we just want to cancel that out. You know, they don't really have a standout kicker or punter. Like, they don't really have standout players on special teams, so we just don't want to do anything catastrophic on our end. And then offensively, I think the key to the game, I think we're going to move the ball against them, David. I think the key to the game is, you know, when we get inside the red area, like how can we score touchdowns, right? We don't want to have 4 drives and then 2 of them, you know, you miss a field goal or you settle for a field goal and it should be 21-0 and it's 3-0. I mean, you don't want to be in a situation like that. So you want to be able to put yourself in a good position to finish drives with touchdowns. And then we feel good about our you know, we've changed our conditioning model up a little bit. Now we're kind of doing functional conditioning. We're trying to condition that in like a 2-minute drill or ways that you play the game. You know, I feel like our guys are in pretty good shape here to go out and win this football game.
Coach, I appreciate your time once again. I look forward to the season. It all begins Friday. Just any final comments?
Yeah, I mean, just looking for the season. Obviously, we're starting another season of Oak Ridge football. And obviously, Halls is a very quick drive from Oak Ridge to Halls. We've done that trip many a times. As you know, you've traveled to their stadium a lot to do some Oak Ridge Halls games. So just travel down, support the team. It's football season. Let's get a big crowd down there, and let's go 1-0.
Coach, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Derek Rang, head coach of the Wildcats.
Down the middle, there's the man. Boom! Over the leg. That man is being scored. Fullback, up the middle he goes 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, Scott Fisher 45, 50, 45, 40, Fisher 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, Scott Fisher has just gone 98 yards for an Oak Ridge touchdown. Time, I can't deal it, so unfair, and it feels like heaven so far away. 3rd and 6. Here comes Oak Ridge, just almost a sack. A screen pass intercepted by Laurendine to the 30, to the 35, to the 30, to the 25, to the 20. Michael Laurendine down to the 15-yard line. Porter under center from the 4. He rolls to his right. Backside pressure. Passes complete. Touchdown Oak Ridge! Booker scores! Booker scores! Booker scores! 12 seconds to play. Pandemonium reigns at Blankenship Field. And single receiver to the right, that's Brett Bell. Coverage on him by Kiki Houston. Up to the line will come Jefferson County. 3rd and 11. Bryant firing down the way. Intercepted by Kiki. Kiki at the 15 with a full blockers in front. 30. Cuts across the field to the 35. Kiki Houston to the 40, to the 45, to the 50. There he goes, running for a touchdown. 30, 25, 20, 15, 10. Touchdown, Kiki Houston. What a return by Kiki for the 2nd consecutive week. Kiki Houston returns it for a score. Great play, Oak Ridge.
First down, 10 yards to go. Dozier 40, 35, 30, 25, 20. He's in the end zone. I spoke too soon. Touchdown, Oak Ridge. DeJobus Dozier takes it in, and the Wildcats up their lead to 27-3 with exactly 9:39 to play.
Mike Ray under center, Sisk and Mohannon, 2nd down, 7. And here's Ray wanting to pass. There's McCadley. He makes the catch at the 40, to the 45, 50, 40, 35, 25, 20, 15-yard line, 10. Jason McCadley, touchdown Oak Ridge. McCadley takes it on a throw from Mike Ray, 87 yards with approximately 59.4 seconds to play, and Oak Ridge leads 22-0. Five men on the line for the Wildcats. Robbie Knight hands it off to Ogletree. Blasted in the backfield. Loses 5 yards. Wildcats come in strong, and they drop him for a big loss. Greg going to the extra point with Greg Johnson. The hold will be Billy King. 42-41. Oak Ridge on top of Central, and let's see what the Wildcats can do with the kick. Here's a low snap. Here's the kick. It's a block for Oak Ridge. Is headed to the state championship ball game at Vanderbilt on a block extra point. 42-41. And Oak Ridge, pandemonium reigns on the field. The Wildcats are headed to Vanderbilt. A blocked extra point. Oak Ridge celebrating pandemonium. Fans on the field. The block kick and Central season will end on their home field. And Oak Ridge will go to Vanderbilt.